You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
So I don't know how long this is going to go, so we may have some pre-recorded material at the end of the show. It would help if I I had commentary going here, but I had the microphone turned off. That's not such a good thing here. So it is Safety Wars for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. This month is just blowing by right here. What do you think about the program last night? Right? People are like, oh, well, I don't know. You're talking about valuation. How much is a life worth? And all that other stuff. And I tell you what, it is an important subject. And my opinion, the recent EPA change on how they calculate these things, where they're essentially saying, well, we're not sure how much a human life is, but so we're going to value it at 0. Really? Or something. And, so in summary, it's this. You have cost-benefit analysis. It's going to cost this amount of money to implement a rule. And I'm just going to pull a number out of that. $50 million. But it's going to save this amount of money in human life. And they assign a value to human life. So let's say you're going to spend $50 million and you're only going to save one life. Cost-benefit doesn't work out. You're going to spend $50 million and you're going to save 50 lives, guess what? Now, you're going to save 50 lives, all right? Now, the cost benefit, right, 5 times 12 will, 50 times 12, $600 million in lives versus $50 million in expenses. Now, right, you have a clear-cut thing of cost-benefit analysis. Unfortunately, when you are dealing with public health, whether we like it or not, the situation has evolved where this is the way they run things. This is what they do. I can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. Jay Allen can't do anything about it. This is public health for you. And during the COVID situation, we saw what happened there with cost-benefit analysis. I was talking with somebody yesterday who had vaccination damage, and it was confirmed. And the doctor said, I can't put that down on your records because I'm probably going to get drummed out, lose my job, get drummed out of the industry. How many times have we faced that, a similar dilemma as safety professionals? Hey, the rule says you got to do X, Y, and Z. The policy says X, Y, and Z. Good industrial hygiene says X, Y, and Z. The regulation says X, Y, and Z. And the people you're working for, like Fleet View, that's going to delay the job or for 10 minutes or an hour or a day, or we didn't figure that into our bid. Which is getting less and less of an excuse nowadays. Back 25 years ago, big excuse, because the people doing the bids on all these construction jobs, infrastructure jobs, general industry jobs, they were old school. They didn't factor in safety to any of this stuff. So when they said, well, we didn't have it in the budget, well, you can say, well, maybe it was an honest mistake where, hey, they didn't have it in the budget. Or, hey, we never considered that before. Or the prime contractor, the host employer, whatever we're calling them, did not enforce the rules, so they didn't include that in their price or anything else. And then later on, you left to manage it. Well, we don't have fall protection in the budget, so we're not using it. No one's going to fall. Or the other extreme, I don't give a shit if it's raining men. We're not buying fall protection. No, nothing's factored in. And this is the way cost-benefit analysis is on this. So we may condemn the EPA for making these decisions. We condemn the Public Health Service for this, but it's also our own employers and organizations we work with that are often making the same kind of decisions. And the other big one are not only who's doing the bid, but who is doing the procurement, the buying of the equipment. We've heard my yellow suit story here, so I'm not going to bore anybody again. Maybe that'll be, we'll talk about that another time, but not tonight. So let me know what you think about that. The EPA going out and changing that policy. It's going to be, perhaps, if that sticks, even through the next administration, Mark, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday last week, mark that as a major event in the history of environmental policy and safety policy in this country, because I have a feeling that this is going to be applied to multiple things out there. So that's our opening. Let's take a quick break here, and we will go right into the news. And it's going to be general news. And then we'll finish it up later on with something else, God willing.
The views and opinions...
Oh, wrong one. That's...
Safety Wars is streaming now. Safety FM.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that is designed to actually address and assess your hazards and liabilities and is not standardized baloney from generations ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call me, Jim Polzel, at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you are receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. So let's talk about something else. I kind of stopped saying that. That's one of my words. Have you ever had, and this can probably be a commercial here, I'll cut this. Have you ever had a situation where you had some type of required training for a job site? Let's say it was something like outreach training. And because of the continued use of these outreach training programs online that have never been updated, by the way, right? They're still working on fines from $7,000 for a willful violation there, or something like that, whatever the old number was. All right, $7,000 for a serious. Oh, and by the way, the government hasn't updated their stuff yet as far as their violations. When you see that, you know it's at least, at this point, 12 years old, that program. There was an organization that hired me to do training, and I had to use their training materials. And their training materials, I compared it. I was speaking to a colleague. He said, oh, yeah, I did a training class for them back in the 90s, same materials. And, right, nothing ever gets updated. The other thing is that often what happens is the worker will go out there and will hire somebody else or have their family member, usually a teenager or a secretary or an assistant or someone, go out and do the training for them. Some of the systems have a little bit more of a robust structure, like some of the ones that deal with, they have like the New York deal, right, where they're calling you up on a phone every half an hour, where they're putting random numbers on the screen and to make sure that you're the one and they have a camera and they log in, they have all different things to make sure you're the one. But that's not a lot of the systems out there. And what ends up happening is people, they're drinking, like with me, I'm drinking a soda here, right? And a naturally sweetened soda. And what happens is, or they're out there with a beer and they're, or their favorite cocktail, and click, 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 click. They get through the whole thing, and then they get through it early, and then they got to wait, or it slows you down, and you're there, and you're like, okay, click, 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 right? And a lot of the answers on the quizzes to the questions of the quizzes are common sense, so they don't even read them. They just click, okay, great. And then they come into the job site, and you get these responses. So, for example, let's say they took a construction outreach course. They go, well, since when do we have a 6-foot fall protection rule? They just went through like an hour and a half of fall protection training, awareness training. They said, since August 1998. Since when do we have to wear hard hats? Can I wear this bump cap on the job? No. Gotta wear a hard hat. Oh, well, what's the difference? And it's like, oh my God. You didn't go through, you didn't go through it. And then those are the people you have to watch. You have to handhold sometimes. And it's not their fault. It's their company's fault. If they have live trainers, usually the live trainers, which we do, 845-269-5772, usually are not going to do that. You're going to know something. That's why you want to stick with the live trainer. There's one story I have where there was a guy who was working at a facility that I was working at. the biggest ball buster in the world. Huge. I mean, on stuff that didn't matter. Low gravity stuff that didn't matter, and there was higher gravity stuff going on that he had to deal with, that he chose not to. So what I find out is allegedly this guy sold OSHA outreach training cards. Allegedly. Or, which I have a hard time believing, because usually someone that tight like that does not do that. And one of the people who went to his training did not know anything about OSHA. And he took the 30-hour course, allegedly, with the card. 30-hour card. Well, what do you mean there's an OSHA recordable? He had a major accident. I said, you know what OSHA recordable is? No. The guy never talked about that. I said, did he tell you that with this type of injury, it was like you had to report it? 1-800-321-OSHA? No. Since when do you got to do that? And this went on for about an hour. And I ended up having to redo the entire in hour one. Actually, one more because we weren't doing a class, so we went way over. Introduction to OSHA with the guy. And it's like, really? Well, since when do we have to have a competent person? I was like, holy. And this was like the owner of the company. So you got to watch out there with what the online things are, right, that you're taking, and try to get a real live person doing this stuff. Not AI, not, computer-based stuff. Go out there and get a real live person to do this. Put in your time. It's not just getting through, hey, we got to have a card, click, 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 and you get a card. There's a lot of meaning that goes, a lot of effort that goes into this stuff, and a lot of blood. So make sure that you get your people the appropriate training, the awareness level training. Get them in a weekly safety meeting program, like what we offer here. And 845-269-5772. Okay, so on to news. Today, this is from The Hill by Sarah Davis. After nearly 80 years of membership, the U.S. is officially no longer part of the World Health Organization. President Trump initiated a removal process in an executive order on January 20th, the first day of his second term. He cited the organization's alleged mishandling of COVID-19 pandemic and other global health crises. The president also complained of an unfairly onerous payments paid by the U.S. as part of a membership in the international organization. The World Health Organization is funded through voluntary donations and its member states' dues, which vary based on each country's population size and wealth. The executive order contained directions to pause all U.S. funds to the WHO, reassign American contractors working for the organization, and seek out other health organizations the U.S. can join instead. In a press conference earlier this month, WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus expressed his hope the U.S. will reconsider this decision and rejoin. And I don't know. It's sort of like where you have the health and safety people out there who are incompetent, and then make us all look incompetent, like with what I had to recently deal with on a job where, very antagonistic. So the guys used to deal with antagonistic safety people and supervisors. We go up there nice and friendly, talk to him about a minor PPE issue, and the guy has a mental health crisis. And I said, okay, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but you got to do X, Y, and Z. That's what it is. That's what it is. This is what the standard is that we have to keep on this site with that. voters give, I'm not going into politics, voters give Trump failing grades on all but one issue in a New York Times poll. This was from NJ.com. Lauren Sforza. President Donald Trump's approval rating is underwater on nearly every issue, except for one, and that is the way that he is working on the border, the U.S.-Mexican border policy. That was almost evenly split. So this is basically 50% approve of his handling the Mexico border, 42% managing the federal government, 41% of Venezuela, and then it goes down on that, and Epstein files 22%. But people are upset about the economy. Who was it? Pardon me, in the Clinton administration. So the economy is stupid. Okay. Now, I've been getting now since Friday of last week, right? Millions of Americans from New Mexico to the Carolinas, this is from the Associated Press, are bracing for a potentially catastrophic ice storm that could crush trees and power lines and knock out powers for days. Anyway, it's called an atmospheric river. It's starting from basically the Gulf of America, right? And they're not even calling it Gulf of America. They're calling it Gulf Coast and going up to Boston. We're predicting to get 18 inches up by me, up in the New York area. And let me see, we have I had it lined up here. Okay, here we go. Ready.gov. Let me do a share screen on here. And this is from Ready.gov. Why you should be winter ready. Try to find a snow shovel up here now. Forget about it. 60% temperature-related deaths are attributed to cold exposure. Home heating is the second leading cause of home fires. There was one in my neighborhood last night. We were trying to figure out what it was from. Travel during the winter has unique risks. Right. So, I mean, it was a huge fire about a block and a half away from my house in New York, where my family lives, and nightmare here. All right, so we are on ready.gov, and learn the signs of frostbite and hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning. We went over a little bit of that a couple of weeks ago. We're going to go over it again. Home heating is the second leading cause of home fires, and winter is when most home fires happen. So let's see, Home Fire Safety Guide. And nice pamphlet. Let's zoom in. In less than 30 seconds, a small flame can turn into a major fire. Here are some important ways to keep your home safe from fire. Smoke alarms. And I'm going to say carbon monoxide detectors here. Put a smoke alarm on every level of your home. Place smoke alarms inside and outside of all the sleeping areas. Make sure all of your smoke alarms work. Test them each month. Replace smoke alarms that are 10 years or older. They used to say check them every 6 months, but apparently which is a good practice anyway. Probably should do it more than that. But what happens is now they have longer-term batteries. Cooking is the number one cause of home fires. Stay in the kitchen when you are frying, grilling, broiling, or boiling food. If you leave the kitchen, turn the burner off. Keep things that can burn away from your cooking area and turn pot handles towards the back of the stove so they won't get bumped. Heating is the second leading cause of home fires. Keep anything that can burn at least 3 feet away from fireplaces, wood stoves, space heaters, and radiators. When you leave a room or go to bed, turn heaters off or unplug them. Plug space heaters directly into the outlet and never use an extension cord or power strip. Make sure your heater has an automatic shut-off switch that turns it off if it tips over. Have your furnace, chimney, and chimney connector inspected by a professional each winter. Make repairs before cold weather sets in. If you smoke in your home, you're at higher risk to have a fire. That actually happened to a family I know where somebody was emptying out ashtrays, and the ashtray in the regular trash, and set the house on fire. You can prevent a fire by asking all smokers to always smoke outside, use deep, sturdy ashtrays, put cigarettes out all the way out, and do this every time. Put water on cigarette butts before throwing them out, and smoke only when alert. Never smoke in bed or if drowsy. I had a family member back in the day. He was not allowed to smoke in the house, and it was snowing out. And he was out on the front porch smoking. He fell asleep, and another family was coming home from a late night out, and came across this other family member, and he was smoking a cigarette, and it was like, the old-fashioned. You see pictures, and it used to be a trope in a movie. I guess that's the word. Where you had the ashes about yay long on the cigarette, and he's there like this, right, shivering. And he says, "Hey, you better get up and go upstairs." And he said, "Oh, thank God, I almost froze to death out here." No, he fell asleep on the porch in the snow. So he got up, went in the house, and got in bed with his parents. He got all confused. Out of the frying pan and into the fire on that one. He got the bedrooms mixed up. If you have young children or older adults in your living in your home, they may need help to stay safe. Keep children at least 3 feet away from anything that gets hot, including heaters, the stove and candles. Lock cigarette lighters and matches up high, out of a child's sight and reach, and teach your children how to escape on their own. No 2 ways out of each room. Keep these exits clear. Make sure everyone is able to hear the sound of the smoke alarm and knows how to get outside if it sounds. Older adults may need your help escaping. Plan for this. Keep wheelchair, eyeglasses, hearing aids, and a telephone next to the bed. I say leave one next to the front door, too. If needed, install smoke alarms and alert devices for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Now, right, here you go. Make a plan. Talk to your family about what to do. No 2 ways out of every room. Have a meeting place outside your home. Know how to call 911 from outside to report a fire. That's why you have a cordless phone by the door. It may still work with that, and practice your escape plan. And if you have a neighbor who is a firefighter, EMT police officer, make sure you know where they live, and you can go to them for help with that. So what's another one? Power outages. We have a solar panel generator. That's what we have, and we have regular generators, so that is something you need to have. You're thinking, well, Jim, how often do you lose power? Guess what? In Rockland County, New York, the answer is often. Really? Yeah, we lose power. I've never seen anything else like it in my entire life. House I grew up in Newton, New Jersey, a mile and a half off the road, they're out of power every week. And that's it. Just check out ready.gov. Why am I going through this? There's a fire in my neighborhood, and one of my neighbors was killed last night in the fire. About a block and a half away. And very, very, right. Just if you go out and you start discussing these things, you're going to be much more capable of managing these things when they come up. All right. Oh, let me get off of that. In other news, In case you missed it, Lori Chavez DeRemer. I mean, we talked about this last week, where has a couple of things out there that are allegations that have been that are out there that says that she was going away. Here you go. In case you missed it, Secretary Chavez DeRemer emphasizes safety and workforce development as she continues America at Work listening tour. The president set a goal for the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and Lori Chavez DeRemer in the first year of the presidency, to visit all 50 states. And the Department of Labor's one was America at Work. Lee Zeldin did it, right? She is on number 37, according to this article here, or somewhere here, 30. But there's been accusations that when she was living Levito Loco, living large with this, they're doing, Congress is doing an investigation on her. And there are some, I don't think that they're scandalous photos, but she's gotten criticized for having pool parties with her and her friends. There are no men involved or anything like that, so I don't think, but there's accusations that she's being unfaithful to her husband and all this other stuff. I'm not surprised because that there's accusations. I'd be really shocked if they were true here with this. So apparently she's living it up, Levito Loco, on the taxpayer dime. I don't believe it. U.S. Department of Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer continued her nationwide America at Work listening tour this week, visiting West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. At the Department of Labor, we are committed to putting American workers first by providing pathways to mortgage-paying jobs and ensuring everyone comes home safely at the end of the day. I enjoyed sharing that commitment with the workers in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee this week. Right? And where I also learned more about how the department can help address workplace challenges so employers and employees can better provide for themselves and their families. On Monday, she visited a power plant in Charleston, West Virginia, met with workers, spoke with them. And the second one is emphasis on safety. Kentucky, she then went to Kentucky. Secretary was joined by former colleague Representative Andy Barr. As they walked the grounds of National Historic Landmark, they engaged with local officials. They were at the Keeneland facility. I don't know what that is. Horse racing industry, apparently. Yeah, it's Kentucky, horse racing. She went on over to Tennessee, which is her 44th state, to visit. So I said 37, so she visited 41 so far. Was welcomed by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Who else? At the Cumberland Fossil Plant. She joined their leadership to witness an immersive AI presentation which highlighted the company's focus on innovation and unleashing the full potential of the American worker. She then spoke with TVA employees and union leaders, underscoring her mission at the Labor Department to improve the lives of both workers and their families. I was speaking to someone in the know last year. I said, why is it when stuff happens, it seems like they always bring in the Tennessee Valley Authority? You don't hear about it so much anymore. But years ago, hey, there was a big technical issue, and I think the Chemical Safety Board, some of the other big organizations took their place to a certain degree. Why did they always bring in the Tennessee Valley Authority? And the guy said was from that area of the country. He said because they used to go out, they probably still do it, and recruit the best and the brightest to work for them. So whenever there was a problem, hey, give them a call, see what they say, sort of thing out there. Okay, great. Did not know that, as according to one thing. Here is the Unemployment Weekly Claims Report released by the DOL. In the week ending January 17th, the advanced figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims was 200,000, an increase of 1,000 from the previous week's revised level. Previous week's level was revised up by 1,000 to 198,000, right? 199,000. The 4-week. Why is that? Well, they can revise. They got their data late. These are apparently now people send things in late, basically for the questionnaires. The 4-week moving average was 201,500, a decrease of 37,050 from the previous week revised total. No, it's like this. Everything's pretty. No, they go up. It goes down. Everything's pretty level here with this. When you look at the graph, right, we're not looking at big swings in numbers. Maybe we're making too much of this than what it is. I get it. Little numbers mean a lot. Here we have a 4.7 magnitude earthquake shakes Wasatch Front. That's outside of Salt Lake City, apparently. 25 miles south of Evanston, Wyoming. I don't know where that is. I've never been there. People across the street from Logan to Provo likely felt the effects of an earthquake during Thursday morning commute. It was a 4.7 magnitude earthquake. People reported household items and furniture shaking, dogs barking, and cats cowering. I was just sitting at my desk in my living room when all of a sudden I felt my house shaking and sat for a second, confused, said Madison Olson in West Manifold. Then I could see my computers, a lamp start shaking. I literally stood up, getting ready to run to my kid if I had to, but thankfully it wasn't too long. Right? We went through an earthquake over here in New Jersey. I was in Bedminster or Gladstone when we had New Jersey when we had an earthquake hit. I was driving, and I must have really good shocks and everything on my truck because I didn't even feel anything. That could be a commercial for General Motors there with that, I don't know. We'll see. I was in an earthquake, and I didn't feel anything. It was great. And federal regulators take new aim at late night TV. Why do we do stories like this? Because part of the safety war is free speech. The FCC set a plan to enforce law and dormant rules on appearances by political candidates on all on-network talk shows. The late night host, okay, this is from the New York Times. The Trump administration is opening a new front against late night comedy, announcing plans to enforce law and dormant rules on appearances by political candidates on network talk shows. Right, so this is broadcast TV, where you can get it with an antenna. Under new guidance released on Wednesday, the Federal Communications Commission warned that entertainment-oriented talk shows carried on local television stations were required to offer candidates vying for the same office equal airtime. The guidance was clearly aimed at Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, and Seth Meyers with that, and have in turn drawn scrutiny from the FCC, Chairman Brendan Carr, but it would also cover daytime talk shows, including another Trump target, The View. Right? With that. Look, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Colorectal cancer is now the top cause of cancer death in younger people. I've known a couple of very young people getting this horrible disease here. Colorectal cancer is on the rise among younger people. Now it is the leading cause of cancer death in the U.S. for those under 50, according to new analysis. More than 1.2 million people under the age of 50 died of cancer in the U.S. from 1990 to 2023. The American Cancer Society researchers reported on Thursday some 3,905 people between 20 and 49 died of colorectal cancer. Yeah, they have all different theories why that is. Some believe it's processed food. Some people think it's something else. Who knows? So the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force lowered the recommended age to begin screening for colorectal cancer to 45. in 2020, and screening has improved since then, yet only 37% of the people for ages 47 to 49 are up to date with their screening. Some people develop cancers even younger. And if you have a family member or a family history of colorectal cancer, start screening earlier. With me, my mother suffered from diverticulitis, and my father had a lot of polyps. Thank God, no cancer. So when I mentioned that to my doctor, I've been going for screenings. I've gone for 2 screenings in the last 5 years. The minute that the insurance company would pay for it, I went for a screening. And there was a little bit of concern from my regular general practitioner last year. She said, Jimmy, why don't you go and get another one? Here, I said, well, it's a year early. She said, let's try another one. Well, I don't know. I'm not comfortable. It turned out to be nothing. Can your health records be sold for profit? A lawsuit says it is happening. This is from MSN.com. Article by Daniel Gilbert. This was originally in the Washington Post. On the digital superhighway that allows sensitive patient health records to be shared by doctors and hospitals, something seemed off to engineers at Epic Systems. Among the providers with access to network were names that sounded like law firms. That observation in 2022 led into an investigation into what Epic, the nation's largest vendor of electronic health record software, alleges an organized syndicates fraudulently obtained access to nearly 300,000 patient records without their consent. What do I always say here? Computer security is an oxymoron. If it's in a computer somewhere, it's accessible. I don't know, I don't know what to tell you here with this. And then people say, well, Jimmy, you're paranoid about the American Community Survey. You're paranoid about all these other surveys and this and that. You don't trust. Well, there it is. It's supposed to be a secure system, is it? Ay. This from SF Gate. Trump administration quietly attempts to open the entire California coast to oil drilling. The ongoing effort from President Donald Trump's administration to sell public lands for private exploitation has now reached the ends of the continent as it's attempting to open up more than 1 billion coastal acres for drilling. Activists, lawmakers, environmentalists, and other opponents of the massive plan feel that the proposal is being sped through under the cover of an unrelenting news cycle, putting in jeopardy shorelands in California, Alaska, and the states along the Gulf of Mexico. All of coastal California would be affected. I don't know what to tell you on this one. And the computer is starting to lock up here. Ay. Let's switch to the other browser. We have a couple minutes here. Let's go to study finds. Yeah, right.org. Here's another one for disasters, right? Hacking the grid. How digital sabotage turns infrastructure into a weapon. I think this is happening more than we are willing to admit, especially the Verizon blackout last week. The darkness that swept, this is a, hold on. All right. The darkness has swept over Venezuela capital in the pre-dawn hours of January 3rd, 2026. Signal of profound shift in the nature of modern conflict, the convergence of physical and cyber warfare. While U.S. Special Forces carried out the dramatic seizure of President Nicolas Maduro, A far quieter but equally devastating offense was taking place on unseen digital networks. The blackout was not the result that encompassed Venezuela was not the result of bombed transmission towers or severed power lines, but rather a precise and invisible manipulation of the industrial control systems that manage the flow of electricity. The synchronization of traditional military action with advanced cyber warfare represents a new chapter in international conflict. It's been going on. I got news. It's been going on for many years. Right, they went from physical to cyber warfare. If anybody thinks that this is a new development, I don't know where we've been for the last 25 years or 30 years, because I heard about this crap back during my college days in the late 80s and early 90s. They knew that this was coming. Sort of like with the AI, right? Well, that came out the first time we really went into that. You can look back at the old Star Trek episodes. Probably worth it for that, as well as the Terminator movies, where AI runs amok with everything. I know Richard Branson describes, McAfee, John McAfee. He described, cyber warfare when he came up with the idea for the McAfee antivirus. And again, that goes all the way back to then. So that's what we have. We're going to have some music on after this. Our preview, a special preview on Safety FM of our forthcoming Safety Love Song. I haven't come up with the name of the album. It's an album on a collection of music on Safety Love songs. So I will be seeing you tomorrow, God willing. We'll see how, well, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe this weekend we'll be doing things from home. We're supposed to be snowed in and everything. We'll see what happens. If not, I'll catch you sometime next week.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.